10 days before John dies, Michael Proctor, the lead investigator, is texting with Julie Albert, who is related to Brian Albert, whose house it was, about babysitting his child. That is someone you know.
Yeah.
Right? No doubt.
You trust with your kid.
More concerning is that 2 days after John died, there are text messages between Michael Proctor and Michael Proctor's wife. And Michael Proctor's wife is relaying a message. It says, quote, "Just saw Julie," they're talking about Julie Albert, "and Julie said when all this is over, she wants to give you ... a thank you gift." I don't know if the ... is leaving out things. I don't know if it was a true like ... And apparently he responded and said that the gift should be sent to his wife and not him.
I don't love communication like that because, right, like you can read into it 10 different ways. But I think what that says in the big picture is you're too close for comfort. And because of that, again, you could be perpetuating a lot of questions, innuendos, and theories that ultimately bring your integrity into question. And in a case that is at the core of it at this point, that's super problematic.
Julie Albert actually comes into this a little bit more, too, because we haven't really heard much about her. Was she there that night? Was her husband is named Chris Albert? Were they there that night? Were they not there that night? Nobody really seems to agree, which is really strange. There is some grand jury testimony. They're both at the waterfall. We know that before. Julie says she goes home early with a headache. Chris walked home when everyone left the bar. The defense says that there is a February 21st report memorializing a statement that the officer, whatever, took from them back on the 10th. So this is like his memory of a statement that happened, days ago. But it says that they did go back to Brian Albert's after. So the defense is like, you didn't even point out this inconsistency in the original grand jury that indicted her. Were they there? Were they not there? So the only theory, when I talk about motive, because again, that's like, what the heck happened? John barely knew these people. The only theory I've seen anyone come up with is that he got into it with Brian's nephew. Again, that's the original tipster said something happened with Brian and his nephew. And so for there to be a lot of questions, was Chris there, was Chris not there, for his wife to be the one like, we want to give you a gift when all of this is over, very suspicious.
Well, I think the question is if you're looking at in the moment something happened in that house, the question naturally is, okay, who had the beef? Who had the beef with John O'Keefe? Even if it was in the momentary split second, you spilled a drink on me or something. Or is it something that preceded it where there's this kind of growing issue? And I think that's where we need to get to the bottom of who was in the house, when did they get there, when did they leave, all of that surrounding the timeline of when we know John dies. It's hard.
What they had always said is that everyone stayed for about an hour and then people left or went to bed. This is also what's strange to me because you have people leaving the house at, say, 1:30, like around that time. Nobody sees John laying in the yard, and this is not a big property. I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, how can you not see that unless you're just blackout, which we know some of these witnesses were not. Some were drunk, some were not blackout. But then, how do you not see someone lying there? Because we know at 1 and even 1:32, he's not covered in those 6 inches of snow yet. So my question is, are there external witnesses like people that were driving on that street or working the blizzard conditions, right?
There's supposedly a snowplow driver who was plowing the street at 2:30, who, according to the defense, is willing to testify that he did not see John out in the yard at 2:30 in the morning.